So here is Riot Gear at the Area 3 Championships at Stable View in Aiken, South Carolina. And you'll see here I'm kind of circling here, trying to get his attention. Kind of what you can't see off to the left is that horses are actually running cross country, and there's golf carts and people, and he's typically a focused horse, but it took him a minute to get a little bit more focused and on my aids before I went in. Now, when they blow the whistle or the bell, we have 45 seconds to enter the arena. He came down the center line nice and straight, down to our trot transition, tracking right. And now a medium trot, which I try to make sure I can keep him balanced, that he doesn't go too big, but I want to make sure I keep going to the letter. And again, I'm having to work a little harder than normal for him, because again, it was a little bit of a different atmosphere with the galloping horses. So he's a good boy, and he tries pretty hard, but I was having a little bit more attention in Riot than I normally would. Going into our half pass, those are getting much stronger. And now in our down transition to halt, you could see he wanted to tip the balance a little bit. And so I kept, had to push up with the hind end first. But that was probably one of his best reinbacks all season. So I think he scored a 7.5 on that reinback, which is a big improvement from our 6s that we've had. So he's getting better and stronger. And then we had another medium trot down the long side. And then our shoulder in to the right. Now the shoulder in to the right this way was much better than it was the other way. And then you can see the horse running cross country. And he's about to lose his focus here just a little bit. I had to really kind of work on keeping him under wraps there. Say, hey buddy, stay listening to me. And then we have an extended trot. So the first medium trots, I'm really trying to keep it even, toned down, and then make sure I can show the difference for the extended trot. And now down transition to the walk at A. That's pretty good. There's maybe a smidge behind the vertical. And now working into our extended walk. Getting him to reach out into the connection through the neck and overstepping the hind foot from where the front foot places. That's a pretty nice active walk. And then I have to put him into a medium walk, so that means the frame changes from the extended. I still have to keep him marching. And then we turn left here as I'm preparing for a walk pirouette or a turn on the haunches. And so we want to make sure the hind feet kind of step in place in the smaller step. He kind of stepped out a little wide at the end, cheated a little bit. And that one was still got a little sticky there. And now I'm going to prepare to go into the canter. Could be maybe a spinch cleaner, but we're having a fairly decent test, all things considered. Then we go directly into the medium canter. Transition back. And now working on my canter serpentine. Geography, or not geography, geometry can sometimes be hard for me. So I always have to work pretty hard on where exactly I want to ride in my serpentines. And now preparing for the canter walk. Had a trot step there, but again, kind of going into the cross country. He's doing a good job of staying inside the rectangle mentally for me. Now I do another medium. Trying to keep him in a little shoulder four. He's just a little bit cocked. But a little bit of that has to do with the tension that I'm containing a little bit. And now into my second serpentine. He does that pretty well, stays pretty balanced. I might have been a little small on my last loop. And now I prepare for my final canter walk. So I want to make sure, since I made a little mistake last time, I'm going to really push with my seat and my leg. That was better. Didn't have the trot step that time. And now we're nearing the end of the test. So we have a canter. Now I'm working on staying in the corner. And then I have a half 10-meter circle at E to make sure, keep them together. And then come down to the trot. I got a little worried with the golf cart coming up behind. And into the halt, which we got pretty square. Overall, really happy with the test. Ended up scoring a 26-3, which put us in the lead by a good amount. Now on to the show jump. So the schedule was quite interesting for the intermediate horses because we did dressage the first day, and then we had to do show jump first thing in the morning, and then cross country shortly after. And so in the show jump, this is actually their new ring at Stable View, which is pretty cool with the tree in the middle. Riot's feeling pretty good. He can sometimes be a little tricky because he can be strong and then sensitive at the same time. So you have to be pretty soft with the hands. Coming into the double there, he jumps that really nicely. And I want to make sure that I don't get stuck on time. So I'm going to keep coming around my turn. And then to this bending line here. And he jumps that pretty well. And then we have another related distance to another Swedish oxer. And I decided to kind of leave one out there versus adding the stride. So now we come to the triple, which I have to rebalance a little bit. Make sure I can hold him off the front rail. He jumps that pretty nicely. And now I'm going to make sure I come through this turn because we have the triple bar. So I want to make sure I can get to the base. And then coming through this turn, he came off a little off balance there with the change. So I just had to kind of ignore it. And then coming to the last line, he jumped it fantastic. And he had a nice clean round. Then on to cross country. So at Stable View, it's pretty cool because it can have a lot of terrain. There's a fairly big hill that we just galloped up and kind of come in and out of the trees. So we're coming to this table here, and we have a related, kind of a longer related distance to a chevron, and then another bending line to another chevron. You can see I kind of made a mistake there, and he was very good to kind of pad in to that distance, to that arrowhead. And now coming to, it's kind of a big tricaner, which is a ditch underneath this oxer. I had some rocks, and you can see he kind of spooked a little bit, hung up in the air. Said, come on, don't need to hang up in the air so much. He has a really amazing gallop. And then coming to another narrow fence, and then a bending line to this table. He is an Oldenburg warm blood, but he is 60% thoroughbred. And then he's got some Irish and Holsteiner in there. So he does have a very good gallop. And then coming to this next tricaner, you see I gave him just a little tap to be like, hey, bud, because he spooked at the other one. I just want to make sure we weren't hanging up in the air over the ditch. And then let him kind of coast on up this hill. Make sure I can rebalance. As I have another accuracy question coming up here. This table, corner to corner combination. And Riot's a big, bold guy, so he's very direct and he's typically very honest. And if I keep the straight line and keep going nice and forward, then we're good. So those rode really nice and positive in the 6 to the 7. I can get in trouble if I start trying to bend it out and fuddle a little bit too much in adding. So coming to this last line, it was a direct 5. And this course was a good course for us to kind of practice with our efficiency. And I know I didn't have to make time. I wanted to come about 10 seconds over. And he jumps the last one, and we were spot on 10 seconds over. And he coasted for his win pretty easily by 17 points. So it was a great weekend.